What's up, man? I'm back with another one, man. Ever since the Saturday fight happened with Fury and Deontay Wilder, people are kind of changing their mind on who the number one welterweight, I mean the number one heavyweight is. And I just wanted to ask everybody out there who y'all think is the number one heavyweight. You know, um, I got Tyson Fury because you know what I'm saying. I got Joshua as number one. You know what I'm saying. I got Tyson Fury at probably number two. You know what I'm saying? You can make an argument for Tyson Fury to be number one, but I got him at number two. I'd had Joshua at number one and Wilder at number two before that fight. And then after that performance by Fury, I gotta catapult him to number two, man. No disrespect to Dominic Brazil, Dillian White. No disrespect to Luis Ortiz. None of those guys. But to me, Fury jumps ahead of those guys because after Fury beat and defeated Klitschko, a couple years ago, I had Fury at number one, and I'm pretty sure a lot of people had him at number one. You know what I'm saying? The consistent was that he was number one, and I think he reclaimed at least the number two spot. I don't know what people got him at. Some people got Deontay Wilder number one. Some people got Joshua number one. Some people, and now you can make a case for Fury to be number one. But I got him at number two. Got Wilder at number three, and then I got Joshua at number one. But they still have now. It has started that they starting to fight each other because we have Fury and Wilder already fight. Now I would like to see a round robin of all of these guys fighting each other. You know, we had some great. It's been some great heavyweights. And what's up, man? Red Glove. What's up, Militant? It's been some great heavyweights over the years, man. And Tyson, Holyfield, Lennox Lewis, Klitschko. Joe Louis, Ali, Mike Tyson. John going all the way down to John L. Sullivan. You know what I'm saying? All these guys, put their hat in the ring and fought. And Rocky Marciano was up in there. You know what I'm saying? And all these guys, man, showed great fights in the ring. And now Deontay Wilder and Fury with that was a it was a really good fight, man. It was an epic fight, because Fury, he showed up. You know what I'm saying? The old Fury showed up, so it made it an epic fight. And I don't know, who who number one, but it's good to see that it's being played out in the ring. Because a lot of times we talk about who's the best. See, in this era of boxing, and it's been not only this era, the last since the belt started getting broken up, since the heavyweight belt started getting broken up in the 70s, the 60s, the end of the 60s, beginning of the 70s, right about the time that they stripped Ali, and they had that tournament. You know what I'm saying? And I remember Frazier, he wasn't in a tournament. It was this other guy that won a tournament, and Frazier beat him to become the champion. But ever since then, that's when they started breaking up these titles, and it's kind of hard to quantify who's the man now because if you're not undisputed in this era, you have to just go by your opinion who's the man is. I hate, because some people opinions are disingenuous. They will say a guy is number one and he doesn't have any titles. You know what I'm saying? Or, stuff like that. Or would not agree that the guy is number one and he has the majority of the titles. Like, see, Joshua is number one to me because he has three of the titles. You know what I'm saying? And he beat three guys to get those titles. You know what I'm saying? Deontay Wilder, yes, he still has his title. And on Black and White, he's still the WBC champion. But to me, Tyson Fury had snatched that from him on Saturday. You know what I'm saying? He didn't take the belt, but he snatched that number two position to me, from Wilder. That's the only way to me that it can happen like that. If you fight a guy in the ring, you actually have to get in the ring and show me with my eyes if you're number two or number one or number three or whatever, like, or whatever the case may be. So in this day and age, we have to see these guys get in the ring. These guys have to fight each other so we can really see who's number one instead of arguing about who's number one, who's number two, who's number three. You know what I'm saying? I don't like arguing about who's number one, number two, and number three when these guys can actually fight. You know, we're not talking about fantasy fights. We're talking about guys that can actually get in there and fight and compete and see who's number one. And so a lot of these guys, you know, some people do. Some people enjoy just talking about it. You know what I'm saying? And just arguing about it and want to argue about it for years. You know what I'm saying? We did that with the Manny Pacquiao and Mayweather thing. You know, and I don't think we should do it with this fight. I mean, with these guys, with these Cropper fighters. You know what I'm saying? And most of those guys on most of the great heavyweights, like Holyfield at one point was undisputed. Lennox Lewis was undisputed at one point. I'm talking about in the last, I'm gonna say the last 30 years. You know what I'm saying? How many undisputed heavyweight champions have we had in the last 30 years? I don't believe not that many. Like I said, Lennox Lewis, Evander Holyfield, Mike Tyson in the last 30 years, you can say. Buster Douglas, because that's when he beat Mike Tyson. And if I'm missing somebody can help me out. If I'm missing somebody the last 30 years, heavyweight champion, undisputed, because none of the Klitschko's was undisputed, because they were reigning at the same time, and you know they didn't, you know, we didn't expect them to fight each other. But like I said before, that Vladimir Klitschko could have fought, you know, Deontay Wilder after Deontay Wilder knocked out Stavern, which would have made him undisputed, or made Wilder undisputed, whoever would have won the fight. But they didn't. They didn't fight, so we never got an undisputed between those two. So yeah, the last 30 years, I think we only had maybe 4 undisputed champions in the last in the last 30 years. And I'm gonna say in the last 30 years of boxing, period, we probably only had 10 undisputed champions throughout all the divisions. Because we haven't had that many undisputed champions. In the welterweight division, who was undisputed? I believe Zab Judah was undisputed at welterweight. Who else at welterweight in the last 30 years? Trinidad when he beat Oscar De La Hoya, that was for undisputed. Let me see. Welterweight. It's not that many undisputed welterweights. I know recently at lightweight we had Terence Crawford, and that we had Usyk at cruiserweight. You know what I'm saying? So, and then now we only got one because Crawford moved up to welterweight, and now Usyk is still, so far he's still, until he moved up to heavyweight, he's still undisputed at cruiserweight. So it's hard nowadays getting undisputed, you know, champions. So now we have to go to who we think, and a lot of people, they don't go off of logic. A lot of people go off of who they like. You know what I'm saying? Like, I was just talking to a guy earlier on my last stream, and I said I think Tyson Fury is the number 2, you know, heavyweight, and he said he still think Deontay Wilder is number 1. You know, so I said, well, by that performance that Fury put on Saturday, Deontay Wilder cannot be number 1, in my opinion. See, that's why it comes down to opinion. You know what I'm saying? Because officially the fight was a draw. You know, it wasn't a victory for either one. So, you know, what I think is one thing, and what really is, you know, it's really a draw. But what I think is Fury won the fight. So I have claim to say I think Fury's the number 2 heavyweight. I think he slid in there. So that's why it's important for these guys to actually get in there and mix it up and fight, so we can see with our own eyes And then we don't have to put our opinion on it. It can be a fact that this guy beat this guy, he's number one. This guy beat that guy, he's number one. He's number one, or so on and so forth. So that's why that fight Saturday was important. It was important so we can start getting a clearer picture, you know what I'm saying, of AJ is the number one. Yeah, I got AJ as the number one heavyweight. That's why I said I had Wilder number two, you know what I'm saying? AJ number one. I made my case why I think AJ is number one. The man got 3 titles. People act like he just. I hear a lot of people say that he picked the belts out the trash. They really belong to Fury. No, they don't belong to Fury. Fury lost them. He was demonstrating himself as unbecoming of a champion. He indulged in things that derailed his career. You know what I'm saying? So what the heavyweight division is supposed to be put on pause? No, the heavyweight division you can't put it on pause. We got to keep moving on. You know what I'm saying? He dropped the belt, so they got stripped or whatever happened, and Charles Martin fought for one and won one, and one of them was vacated. Klitschko and Joshua. Joshua knocked out Klitschko for that title. I believe that one was the WBA. He beat Charles Martin and knocked him out for the IBF. And then he beat Joseph Parker for the WBO. So he actually had to fight people to win those titles. He got off the canvas versus Klitschko. He could have very easily lost that fight. The man got off the canvas. He got off the canvas and won the fight. So the titles were not handed to him like most people will lead you to believe. If you ain't know anything about boxing, if you ain't follow boxing, and you was new coming into the boxing, and somebody said that, you would think that was the case. No, that's not the case. And the fact of the matter is, Joshua earned those titles. Period. He should not drop them. He should not say he's not a real. No, he's a real champion. You know what I'm saying? Now, should he fight? Should he be fighting Fury and Wilder? Yes. Oh, yes, of course he's supposed to be fighting those guys, so we can get down to the nitty gritty of who's the number one welterweight. I mean, I keep on saying welterweight, heavyweight, so we can get down to the nitty gritty. He's supposed to fight those guys. Yes, 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 and yes. But you can't walk around and say he's not a real title holder, because that's what these guys are. If you're not undisputed, you're a title holder. You're not a champion per se. You're just a title holder, because when you look at the Ring magazine, a lot of times they have the champion is not nothing for a champion. It's just the WBC belt holder, WBA, and that whoever got those titles. So, you know what I'm saying? Right now, Joshua is a 3 belt holder and Wilder is a 1 belt holder. You know what I'm saying? So if you want to separate that, you have to say Joshua is number 1 because he has 3. And Wilder, no matter what you think of Anthony Joshua, he does have 3 titles. You can't take those away from him. He earned those 3 titles. So you can be delusional if you want to and say that he is not a real title holder, but he is. Like, I can be delusional and say Tyson Fury won the fight in black and white, and I know that he didn't win the fight in black and white. In black and white, it's a draw. You know what I'm saying? My opinion is he won the fight. So, we can all quantify it like that. Hey, y'all, I gotta go. I'm out.